What's going on, everyone? I am just a typical, average American here today to react to some of the dumbest things that Americans have ever said to Canadians. So today, I want to take a look at some of these examples of just the stupidest things that my fellow Americans have actually said about Canada. And, I understand that us Americans get a pretty bad reputation for, saying ignorant things or even being rude. So today, I want to take a look at some of these and, I don't know, maybe try to set the record straight. So let's take a look. Starting with, this is a Canadian who said, I was a buyer in the oil patch. Okay, so they're like in the oil industry. Okay. A supplier from Houston, Texas, called me in Calgary, Alberta. So this is a Canadian in the oil industry talking to an American on the phone. And we spoke for a bit. Then he asked me to transfer his call to our Ontario warehouse. I said I couldn't do that because I was in a different province with a different area code. Okay. He was angry and just thought I was being lazy or difficult. Oh no. So this American got like mad on the phone. Well, that's that's the first time that's ever happened in history for sure. Yeah. No, I think this is actually unfortunately pretty common. I think especially on the phone, like for some reason when people feel anonymous or like they're not in person or and unfortunately there's actually two things here that are probably the issue for the American or explaining his behavior. Like most Americans don't even know Canada has provinces. Um, Most of us would probably think that it's like called a state or I don't know. I know for a fact for a large part of my life, I didn't know. I didn't even know. I thought Ontario was like a city like for a very long time. So yeah, a lot of Americans get very confused with that. Might even think you're making it up, or as crazy as that sounds. And also in the U.S., I think we kind of have this weird culture of like giving people a hard time, especially in the service industry. Like if you're at a restaurant, like every so often you'll see like here in the US, you'll see somebody make throwing a big fit and being very rude to like the waiter or the server. And like the expectation is if you make a fuss and you're difficult and you complain, that's your right as the customer. You know, maybe I know a lot of businesses are like the customer is always right, but I don't think there's any real reason that you can't act like a decent human being and just be nice about it, even if someone screws up. It's just food. Like it's gonna be okay. A lot of Americans like throw a huge fit knowing that they're going to get like a free meal or that they need to like complain to get to what they want, and that just is a part of it or something. It's really annoying, and it's not a good aspect of American culture, and I think that's going on here a bit as well. Like he thinks if he is difficult and is like, oh, you're lying to me about the Ontario and the provinces, that's made up, or you can transfer me. Come on, you're just being lazy. Like that's gonna somehow get it done, even if it's impossible. Yeah, so I actually do think that's kind of what was going on there. Yeah, not good. Let's keep going. This Canadian who said, when I was in university, my roommates and I bought a Dirt Devil vacuum. Okay. And after a week, it started not working. That sucks. One of my roommates called the support line from the box. People do that? I've never actually done that. Called the like support line on the box. If there's a problem, I just kind of like throw my hands up and get annoyed and say or return it if it's like Amazon or something. Anyway, one of my roommates actually called the support line. Good for you, from the box to figure out what was going on. And a southern lady took our call. Southern like the United States or southern United States, like with an accent, like, hey, sweetie pie, how's it going? Like that kind of thing. Like a very sweet. Anyway, I think an American answered, a lady took the call. This is another phone call going wrong, I guess, story. We tell her our address, and my roommate says our city, province, and Canada. Oh, jeez. Oh, no, not this again. Um, Maybe this is a recurring theme for Canadians. The lady on the line says, Canada? Like the state? What? Okay. Uh, Hold on. Like, I'm even as an American, I'm open to admitting that we say stupid things. We don't know much about geography and the rest of the world and even Canada, but most of us should know that it's a country. This, take it for what you will, but a lot of Americans don't know the Canadian provinces and cities, and but we at least know that the Canada, the country, we learned that much for what it's worth. So this is like extraordinarily dumb, for lack of a better word. That's just crazy. Um, Once Canada, like the state? Okay, so that's what she says. Once we got her to understand Canada was a country, so it was up to you to teach her that. Then she asked which state in Canada. See, like this is actually that part I actually am not surprised about. She got likely her first geography lesson that day, and we got a new vacuum. Hey, at least she was open to minded to like if I heard some random person calling me with some made up country, I'd be like not that Canada is made up from, but from her point of view, like, she was open minded to being like, "Oh, Canada. That sounds kind of familiar." Um and she seemed receptive to it, at least not like angry like the other guy. So I don't know, maybe I'm just coping here, but that's at least good, right? Okay, this Canadian said, I once went to a grocery store in western New York State. That was a 15-minute drive from the border. Oh, do Canadians do that? Like travel into the United States just to go like on a 15-minute drive to a store? I guess if you live close to the border, there's all sorts of like cool little stuff you could do. Like if you're willing to, I don't know like how much of a hassle that is to cross the border and like travel somewhere and go home. Maybe it's not that like much of a deal. Um, well, these days I think it's actually more of a big deal from what I've heard. And anyway, this Canadian traveled all the way to the U.S. or for a 15-minute drive. I was buying beer, and the cashier asked for my ID. So I gave her my Ontario driver's license. She said, Ontario? Where's that? Um, it's a province of 14 million people. That's 15 minutes from here, lol. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, again, I think for a lot of Americans, this would be not good. It's not good, but it is kind of expected. To be honest, it's expected. Like I thought Ontario was a city, for God's sake. This person lives in New York. They're very close to Canada. They should absolutely know about Ontario. If you're in New York, that's very close. It shares a border. There's no this. Like, I have come to terms with the fact that Americans are terrible. We're terrible at geography. It's a fact. Like, it is what it is. I don't know where we went wrong. I think where we go wrong is that we just focus on the United States, and that is it. That's probably where we go wrong. Um, and so I get, like, I understand a lot of Americans won't know this, as crazy as that is. I've accepted that, but Americans in New York, especially close to the border, really have no excuse. Just throughout the course of living your life, shouldn't you, at one point or another, have heard of Ontario? Like, what, this the first time that this you've ever met someone from Canada or Ontario living 15 minutes away? I just don't buy it. What, they like have their head under living under a rock? What who's this cashier? Like, what? That's crazy. Um there's really no excuse for that. Okay. I was in Seattle and was talking to this guy on the subway. He asked where I was from, so I told him Winnipeg. And oh boy. And he said, "Oh yeah, I have some cousins really close to that city. They're up in Vancouver." Yeah. um Again, I don't know this stuff that well, but Winnipeg is not that close to Vancouver, right? It says, yeah, really close, only 2,321 kilometers away. Okay, that's really not close. Wait, Winnipeg, aren't those both kind of west, though? Oh my, am I sounding like this dumb American right now? Aren't they both kind of that direction? Or Vancouver's actually on the west coast, and Winnipeg is like kind of in the middle. And I think what it is for a lot of Americans, we really, for some reason, misjudge the size of Canada. Like, which is weird because you're right on top of the United States. I know the United States is massive. Canada is massive. Just, it's the same width, if not bigger. So that's kind of weird. But at the same time, like I said, anything that has to do with geography and understanding the geography of Canada or the spatial relationship, even Winnipeg and Vancouver. The only fault I would say here is that, like, if you're an American, don't say stuff that sounds totally ignorant that you don't really know anything about. Don't say it confidently. Don't say it like you know. Be like, yeah, I have cousins close there. No, don't say that. Say, yeah, I have some cousins. I think they're close to Winnipeg. They're in Vancouver. Is that close? Like, don't be afraid to show some humility and ask. Although, that's just not really how us Americans do it. But that would be, yeah, we wouldn't sound so dumb and ignorant if we would just, like, acknowledge when we don't know things, I think, but apparently that's hard for people to do. And I also had a guy ask if we had birds in Canada. Okay. I don't I don't know what to think of that. Is that insulting? How dumb is that? Like, there are different, am I just trying to come up with a defense at this point? There are, like, animals are indigenous to different parts of the world. Like there's only crocodiles in certain parts and kangaroos, and isn't there a chance that there's no birds in Canada? I don't. Obviously, common sense would have you think there are indeed birds in Canada, but for us Americans, a lot of us, we've never been there. We don't know. But it's like, why did this guy ask that? Like, why does that come to his mind? Did somebody tell him that? Because I've never heard Canada is lacking birds. I don't think that's not a thing, right? Now he's got me wondering. Okay. In Switzerland, I was lectured about voting for Trump, and oh, this is a Canadian who was in Switzerland lectured about voting for Trump, even though they're Canadian. I had to explain how we are very different countries with different histories and political systems. Yeah, no kidding. To say the least. And then I had to explain whose side we were on during the American Civil War and where we were during World War II. Oh my God! Well, thankfully, this is not even an American. This is some Swiss person. Get get mad at the Swiss. Don't take it out on us. This wasn't up for once. This was not us. Some random Swiss guy or girl. I don't know. Um, I don't get blame them for getting upset at Trump or anything, but don't blame Canada. Canada, don't blame us for the Swiss, and Swiss, don't blame Canada for us. That's all I got to say about that. And whose side was the American Civil War? Whose side was Canada on in the American Civil War? Like, were you on any side? I don't even know. And where you were during World War II, that's just kind of insulting because Canada did a lot of stuff. So, anyway, I think with that, that's a good place to stop. these are these were funny, entertaining, obviously kind of triggering, and I don't know. Yeah, I think it's kind of good at least to acknowledge like the stupidity, like because it is so blatantly obvious, and we're kind of known for it. And I don't know. I guess hopefully this kind of proves that not all Americans are like this, and maybe explains some of the crazy thought processes we go through and why we think like we do. So, anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these crazy things that Americans have actually said to Canadians. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and seeing Canadian things that I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.